All right, welcome back to the show today. Today is our Monday Mojo edition, but it's going to be a special Monday Mojo edition because I'm going to be accompanied by my son, Jay Perry. He's going to help give us today's story or our Monday Mojo. Let me first start by saying thank you to everybody that bought a book, man. Fantastic. I was hoping to sell a couple hundred books and hit a number one ranking on Amazon, but we absolutely sold more than that. And that is because you purchased a book. So I hope that in that book you found one thing, two things that you're able to apply that might help you be better in your life. And like I have said, if you did not find anything useful, put it in your visitor's restroom, right? You don't care what they read. And the title might make them think anyway. Never stop getting better. Okay. But I'm very thankful for everybody that bought a book. If you have not bought one, go on Amazon, buy it. I think you'll find it useful, I hope. Anyway, today's Monday Mojo is going to be titled Chasing Your Dreams. Okay. So, Jay, first of all, thank you for agreeing to do this. I think this is your first cameo on the Never Stop Getting Better podcast. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you to be on here. Okay, so today's title is Chasing Your Dreams, and I want to start with a short story about, a shortcoming of myself. I'm not sure if this is in the book or it's not, but Jay may remember this, and we've not prepped this beforehand, honestly. So this is going to be like whatever comes out. It's going to probably be the truth. Um, but I don't know if you remember, Jay, when Coach Harbaugh came to Pearl to do the satellite camp. He was coming to recruit Cam Akers, and at that time, you could set up these satellite camps. Well, Jay wanted to meet Coach Harbaugh. So when Coach Harbaugh got there, he was extremely nice. He was extremely cordial. And when I got Jay down to Coach Harbaugh, right at the very beginning of the introduction, Coach Harbaugh introduced himself and he said, Jay, what do you like to do? And Jay, I don't know if you remember this or not. And I don't know the exact answer, but whether it was I like to sing and dance or I like theater or musical theater. And what grade were you in? Any idea? This would have been about 2016.
I was like in fifth grade.
Yeah, we were fourth or fifth grade is what I thought. And when Jay said that, I'm sitting there, in the presence of one of the greatest college football coaches in the world, and I'm thinking, oh my, like, and then the reply from Coach Harbaugh was, you know what, Jay? Some of the best days of my life have been spent watching my son, who was going through musical theater or went through musical theater at the University of Michigan, which is one of the best musical theater schools in the world. He said some of my best days were spent watching my son on stage. And I'm sitting there, if I could kick myself in the butt, like I would have been kicking myself in the butt because it was the first time that I had a little bit of self-awareness about my dreams and Jay's dreams are not the same, and they don't have to be the same. Sometimes as parents, we start throwing our kids into the stuff that we did, and I did. Right? Jay was in football, Jay was in baseball, Jay was in all the sports that we liked, but to be honest, it was kind of like sticking a square peg in a round hole. Like you could almost see that it was like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, that day was an awakening for me that, shame on me for trying to push myself onto, my son and make him do the things that I want to do. And, it was a blessing for me because sometimes self-awareness is the toughest trait in the world to understand. Do you remember that day at all?
I remember that camp, but I don't really like. I never remember you not like fully supporting me wanting to do theater. Like there was never a time where like you were trying to get me out of it, and like even when I was like you were pushing me to do football, I was like still going to the theater and like taking classes. So there was never really a time that I felt like you were being unsupportive, even if like that's you know.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is, man, I'm a great faker, right? Because me and mom was talking about this the other day. Like we were always taking, sitting out in the car while you went into practice and like we did all
Mhm.
of that. But at the same time, in my mind, I was thinking football, 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 because that's
Yeah.
all I've ever done. But it was really that moment when I decided that I'm going to fully support Jay for what Jay does and not for what I do. You know what I'm saying? Because it's Jay's dreams. It's not my dreams. How shallow of us as adults if we try to push our kids to do or like what we like. And then let's fast forward to, another shortcoming that I would say that I had in my life was, being very job oriented, being very football centric in my life, and then we go through the little, the not the little, but the big episode with Haley and her sickness and all that, and then starting to try to figure out that life's more important than just football, and then we fast forward to, this did make the book. I know we fast forward to 2017 where the night before the biggest game of the year in my career, we're fixing to play Starkville in the state championship game, and mom's busy the night before, and I'm sitting in a theater watching the good Lord knows who and yourself, audition, and there's a thought that I'm like, man, can you believe I'm sitting in here when we're fixing to play, but I still think that's that's terrible of me because I would assume that's what most parents do, right? Is support their kids endlessly. But I also had the thought that, this is great because it was like watching you, play your state championship game while we're getting ready to play ours. And I do remember, there was a statement you made years ago that, it meant a lot to you that I was sitting in there, So my point is, like our kids are watching us regardless of whether, our actions are good, bad, or indifferent. But when you show up, your kids know. When you don't show up, your kids know. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest moments I can remember being like pivotal for me to know that like I had your guys' support and to I for you to be there right before your biggest game was such a big moment for me. And I remember I mean I am still so grateful. Like that's the sweetest thing and I had forgotten about it until I read the book and I got really emotional about it because I think there's like a couple moments that like I think define like the way you guys have supported me and the way that I've been able to like live out my dreams like right now. And another one of those moments is my first professional audition at New Stage. I came out of there and I was a mess because I got cut in the dance because I could not dance at all. And you sent me messages on messages of pictures of like the Beatles and Abe Lincoln of people that had just tried over and over and over again. And I remember being so upset, but going home and sitting there and talking to you on the couch and just knowing that like I had full support in doing that because and you always talked about how I didn't have to do football, but whatever I was doing, I had to be the best at. And
Mm.
so it was never like a task to have to go in and work. It was just like I was doing something that I loved. And then like once I started taking classes and doing it with my friends, it was like became serious.
I love that. Hey, listen, and this is a commercial break, right? Like if you're watching this on YouTube, most of you are probably not, but if you are watching on YouTube, check his hat out, man. He's got an outstanding hat on, right? What's that say? Never stop getting better. That's
Never stop
fantastic.
getting better.
We got to get more of those out. Well, you bring up a point that, I heard this saying not long ago, a ship in the harbor is safe, but it's not what ships were built for. Like playing it safe in life and doing what your parents want you to do or doing what's comfortable, like not showing back up for an audition because it didn't go your way. Like, if you can't take a risk, and you can't handle criticism, and you can't handle failure, how are you ever going to achieve your dreams? One of the last things we talked about um, was, and I don't know if you remember this as much as I do, but before you got your first professional opportunity this summer in Michigan, right, to be Evan Hansen and Mr. Evan Hansen, which is fantastic. About a month before that, when you've went and auditioned in St. Louis and you're trying to make it and you're trying, I can remember a phone call with you and your mom where you were kind of down in the dumps because you just wasn't getting what you wanted. But I can absolutely remember, you being able to reset really quick and understand that, like if I don't keep trying, I'm never gonna get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just have to keep trying. And I have a picture that I keep on my phone of the guy digging for gold,
Yeah.
and on one layer he's digging for gold and it's so close. And then on the next picture, he's turning around and walking away just short. And I've always thought about that in anybody's world, especially the theater world, that, you just have to keep going. Like you can't just be safe all the time. Like you got to put yourself out there. So, all right, now let's fast forward to what does it feel like? Because you've expressed this to me, but what I want you to do is express it to the people that's listening because what everybody listening to this wants for their kids is for their kids to be in a similar spot in that they are chasing their dream. So when I
Yeah.
ask you the question, what does it feel like to be living the dream, be living the I am chasing my dream? What's that feel like for you?
I mean, I talk about all the time how like being here with these people doing this like at this caliber is everything I've ever wanted. And I like am surrounded by the best people, the most talented people, and like I have the biggest support team. I am about to play my dream role. Like life I my life is quite perfect. I like everything is I could not ask for more. And I kind of like I yesterday was just pacing around my apartment, like looking at everything and just I like kind of wake up in awe every day that like this is my life because I just how many people get to like truly be passionate about what they do every day. Like I waking up every day and like I'm excited to get to rehearse the piece I'm working on. Like I just could not ask for anything more. Like I can't think of anything I would change in my life and I like am could not be more lucky. I just like I more than grateful. I don't know how to describe the feeling of like everything happening better than I thought it would for myself. Like I don't know. It's I'm living my dream. I don't know how to put that into words. Like it's like I
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I think, and I think anybody listening to this would hope that, their child finds, whatever it is they want to pursue in life and chase it so that they can have the exact same answer because, I just know from someone who has lived out their dream, and I get to go every day and wake up and go do what I love to do. And what a blessing, right? Like just
yeah.
finish year 32. And, I would be honestly say that I think the next 10 years of my career is going to be the best 10 years that I've had. Like I'm excited about where it's going. Like I don't even like retirement is not even a legitimate word. I mean, it's not found in the Bible, so it's obviously something that we just created
Must
because I
be.
love what I do. So I think everybody listening would say, "Man, I hope my kid finds what they like." Let me ask you, what would you say if there's a young person listening today that's third, fourth, fifth, eighth, ninth, tenth, whatever, it don't matter, senior, graduating high school, that's afraid to chase their dreams because, it feels risky or it's different than what people have pushed on them as far as their parents, friends, teachers, what would you say to that young person?
Um I feel like my biggest fear is living my life and like going through this 4 years of college and then going into a career field and then feeling regret. Like
Mm,
I'm very scared that like I'm gonna have not achieved things that I wanted to, but I think that's like the reason I'm able to like take risks because I know that I'm gonna regret not taking the risks.
mm.
I think the biggest thing for me right now, we talk about it a lot, but is focusing on what I'm in control of and like focusing on the things that happen in my life that I can control. Um, I think, pause. You're gonna have to edit it. I got nervous.
It's okay. Let me say this. I would think this is and I don't know, like what else comes out of this, but this is what I'm going to take as the nugget from this that I hope everybody takes is that not taking your risk is a greater issue than taking your risk, right? So like
Yeah,
not chasing your dreams is a greater risk than, if so what if somebody doesn't agree? So what if somebody like I think if you chase what's in your heart, and I
yeah.
believe that God puts us, and puts us where we're supposed to be, and He puts our desires in us. And if you're not, chasing your dreams, what a shame, because we're only going to live on this earth one time. You know what I mean? And you can't be scared, like I thought that was really good. Like not taking risk
And
is greater than taking risk.
I feel like there's also something I'm never really like scared to fall or scared to fail because you taught me from a super young age that like you learn more from failure than you do your successes. So like even when the risks don't go my way, I'm getting something from that. Like I'm growing as a person or an artist. And so I think I fear is what holds everyone back, but
Mm,
I like am not scared to fail.
yeah. You know what? Failing sucks, right? Like it does. Like it is absolutely miserable. But I've been on record as saying this too. Like I believe that if we had lost a game last year before the last game, we probably win a state championship because you do learn more from failures than you will ever learn from successes.
Yeah.
Successes actually blind us, and make us become complacent and arrogant. And, sometimes when you have a setback, man, it's a blessing, right? It's a setup for something to come. Okay, last topic that I want to discuss because we just had the chance to come to Cincinnati and watch your debut in your collegiate musical theater play, Sweeney Todd, where you played Tobias. And we were able to, I know you did it 6 or 7 times, but I think we watched three of them and it was phenomenal. Okay, so let's talk about like what was that experience like, being able to play Tobias, being able to be in that play at the University of Cincinnati.
I mean, again, I'm really feel like I'm living my dream. Like I came in, we had auditions and we auditioned for all of our shows and I got a ton of callbacks and I went into the audition and I walked out and I was like I literally told my friend I was like, "Well, I didn't get that one." Like I was like someone sang better than me. And then I got the cast list and I was like shocked. And then we started working on it in December. And it was just a dream come true. It was in this beautiful theater with an insane set. The rest of the cast was insane. The role itself was so fun because it's this long opera show, but I got to come out and sing two fun songs and then have a big ballad at the end. Um, I think I really nothing I feel like I keep repeating myself, but I
Sure.
really like it was my dream. Like have all I did throughout my childhood and like through high school was shows. Like I just did shows and shows and shows and I never seriously trained. And I got to college and like broke everything down. All I did was train for 2 years. Like I didn't do a
Mm,
show. Um, and so then to get to go into practice and like know that the things that I've been doing for the last 2 years are like working and like going into a room prepared, it was like it was so cool to get to know that I like have the ability to do that and that like the last 2 years have been working. I think the biggest part was the collaboration with the opera majors. They were all older and like I didn't know any of them, but they're some of my best friends now. Like working with people that are just so talented. I learned so much from watching choices people made in the room and the whole week of the show was such a dream for me. Like having my family up here and my best friend to come watch me do what I love and I felt like a child on stage. Like I was just
mm.
playing and I mean I genuinely could not ask for anything more. Like it was the perfect year and it was the perfect show to get to do. And it's the perfect role. I had so much fun and I learned so much. Um, I also learned not to get a haircut without the right approval.
If you don't know, and you don't know, was they'd asked Jay to get
By
a
the way,
haircut, and he went and got a haircut without without getting clarification on what type of haircut they wanted, and it didn't go great. So he
they
had to
built
wear
a
a little
wig to look
wig.
like my old hair.
Yes, they built a wig to look like his old hair. Well, I would say this, that is what it means absolutely to chase your dreams. You know what I mean? When you can go do something that you absolutely love to do, like that to me is what we should hope, wish, pray that, all of our kids that find their passion and chase it. Two more questions. What's number one, what's your goal in life? What's the big goal? And number two, what's the backup plan?
Um, these are like the most common questions that musical theater majors get asked. But like, my goal is to create a sustainable career in performing, like, no matter where that is. I want to perform. Um, my dream is different from my goal. Like, my dream is to perform in New York on a Broadway stage, but my goal is feels like something that's like very tangible. Um, and my backup plan is kind of non-existent. I like am kind of gonna achieve my dreams because of the support I have and because of the work I put in, and I feel confident that eventually I'm gonna succeed. Um, because failure is like just another growth. So I maybe not a good answer to tell my dad. Backup
Well, I'm gonna
plan
tell
is
you what,
teaching.
Jay, and I set you up for that because we did not talk about this beforehand, but as your parent, I do know because we've had conversations about why don't you, get an education degree just in case, and you can fall back on teaching theater and da 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 da. And from a very early age, like there was no backup plan, right? There's no backup plan. And I have since, learned that sometimes having a backup plan is one of the first ways that you fail because when it gets
Because you just
hard,
go to
you
the
just
backup
fall
plan.
back to the backup plan because the
Yeah.
backup plan is much easier. So, lesson number two, besides not taking risk, is absolutely worse than taking risk is, you know, maybe the backup plan don't need to come into the picture, right? Just chase your dreams, and put it on a pedestal and go get it, and then when you have a setback, when you have a failure, when you have a shortcoming, just understand it's a lesson in trying to figure out how to do it even better. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
you don't settle for less in your life because we only live one time in
Yeah.
this earthly life, man. And why not? Why not live it chasing, your dreams and your passion and waking up every single day fired up about what you do? Because the one thing I do know is this, and there have been scientific studies that show this, the amount of money that you have does not relate to happiness once it gets to a certain point. Like you have to be able to take care of yourself and your family, okay?
Yeah.
But whether you make 70,000 or 1.7 million a year, there's absolutely no difference in happiness. Money's never going to buy you happiness. There's a difference between, success and significance, and we've talked about that plenty. So, Jay, man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, right? And taking a break from Never Stop Getting Better to do the podcast Never Stop Getting Better. So I'm super grateful. Is there any last parting shots you would like to send them off with?
Uh, Shout out to Georgia.
Shout out to Georgia.
And thank you for inviting me. And I'm very lucky. I would not be anywhere I am or doing any of the things that I'm doing without the support of you and mom. And I feel absurdly lucky to be able to have family that supports me and truly believes that like my dreams can happen for me. Um, I am very lucky, and
I
I love you.
appreciate that, Jay. You know what? There's two things that every parent should tell their kid,
Yeah,
regardless of whether they go 0 for 4 or they go 4 for 4, whether they score or whether they sit the bench, is I love you and I'm proud of you, period. Like that's end of discussion. You know what I'm saying? I do love you and I am proud of you. And I'm super pumped I'm looking forward to that day. I'm sitting in New York City, watching you on Broadway. I can't wait. I'm gonna have a front row seat.
me too.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody that listens to the show. Share it with somebody. Buy the book. If I can ever help you, please don't hesitate. Until next time,
Never stop getting better.
adios, amigos.